And in this video, I will show you how to revamp some flip-flops that you're either bored with, they're old, they're junky, or they're just plain and boring to begin with. I love this little technique because it makes things interesting and you don't have to wear the same boring stuff year after year, and you can sort of mix it up on a budget. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell next to it so you get updates when I post new videos. Follow me on social media at Katrinaosity, check out my podcast at MDXpods.com, and if you enjoy this video, please click the like button, it really helps me out.
For this first one, all I did was take the fabric from a vintage tie. I split open the tie and then split the long piece of fabric in half, so I had 2 strips. Then I tied the center of the strip to the center of the flip-flop, and then began wrapping the long strip around the flip-flop straps until I had covered up that entire strap. What I love about this is that you can use some of these funky old school ties, and because it's a nice geometric pattern, it looks really good with this design because you're not going to really be able to see any sort of distinct print if you do this method. Then repeat this process on the opposite side the exact same way. Just make sure that if you rotate one towards the side of the flip-flop, you're going to be rotating the other one in the opposite direction so that they're sort of a mirror image of one another. When you get to the end, you can put a dollop of glue just to hold the fabric in place on each side, and that is pretty much it. You can wear these a couple of different ways. I prefer to cross the straps in the back and then tie them in front in a simple bow. If you decide to make longer strings, you can wrap them up your leg, but I find that they tend to fall down a lot. And that is the first look. For the second one, I took this plastic cup chain. You can get this at a fabric store anywhere that you buy trims. It's a lot cheaper than using jewelry cup chain. Then applied a dollop of glue to the outside of the flip-flop strap, and then I took some coordinating embroidery thread and tied it around the first link in the cup chain and cut off the excess string. Then I began wrapping it up around the strap, putting one length of string between each of the cups, and continuing this process all the way up, gluing intermittently just to make sure that the cup chain wouldn't slip. And then when I got to the end, I simply tied off the string and then cut off the excess. Then to add a little bit more sparkle, I put a nice big dollop of hot glue towards the toe of just one of the sandals and glued on this sparrow charm. What I like about this is that you don't have to have them on both of them for it to be cute. I prefer to just have it on one, and just make sure you don't place it too far down on the toes, otherwise it's going to be stabbing into the top of your toes. For this next look, I began just by taking some regular craft thread. You can use embroidery floss or craft thread, but I find that craft thread is a little bit more durable and a whole lot cheaper. Begin by tying it onto one of the sides of one of your straps, and then start wrapping it around the strap. The trick to this is to put each of the strings as close to one another as possible so you don't see the flip-flops through the gap. I like to use bold colors for this because it's sort of a color blocking effect, and then when I run out of one color or decide I have enough of it, I tied on the next color, making sure to place the knot so it would line up with the inside of the flip-flop strap. Then I cut off the excess string, put a nice big dollop of E6000 around where the knot was going to be, just to give the knot a little bit more strength, and then I continued wrapping the thread the same way and switching out colors whenever I felt like I needed a change. And I like to intermittently put a little bit of E6000 on the inside of the strap just to make this a little bit more durable. Then when I got to the end, I tied a knot and cut off the excess thread, and that is all there was to that one. I love how colorful these are. I think they're really cute sandals, and I love the way they turned out. And for the last sandal, I took some E6000 and put a nice thick bead of it on the outside of the sandal strap. Then I took this pom-pom trim. You can get this either in scrapbooking stores or at fabric stores, and I placed that all the way across the straps of the sandals. And then when I got to the end, I cut it to fit. Then I took another coordinating ribbon and continued placing that over the pom-pom ribbon, adding another bead of glue on top of it just to make sure everything was sticking in place. When I got to the center of the toe, I put a nice big dollop, and then I put a little bit of glue on top of the ribbon so that when I folded it over to change directions, it wouldn't stick up, but would lie flat underneath the crease. Then when I got to the end, I made sure to cut the ribbon at an angle, and that way it fit the flip-flop perfectly. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed any of these DIYs, make sure you hit that subscribe button below, hit the notification bell next to it so you get updates when I post new videos, follow me on social media at Katrinaosity, check out my podcast at MDXpods.com, and please click the like button.